Here we go with Bedford Park Daisy then. This is another beautiful motif. We're going to start with making 3 of the flowers, so the larger flower and the 2 smaller flowers, and then we're going to go sort of down the route that we've gone with sunflower and others, which is to make those stems and then add in the leaves and the buds and join it all together with that frame. So it's one of the more complex designs, but we will be absolutely fine working through it together. Before I move on, I just want to show you some of the other colourways of this beautiful block and how different it looks in those different colourways. These are all made with the original colour pack, just in different orders, so feel free to mix it up a bit. We'll be working the original colourway in these videos, and so let's get started. Okay, we'll start at the centre. I'm starting with cranberry because I'm working the original colourway, and we're just going to start with a very simple 4 chain and joining into a loop or a circle, or ring, there's the word. Joining it into a ring, and don't forget to make sure to keep it nice and neat, to make sure that tail and the knot is behind your hook before you join into a ring, and that will mean that the center is nice and neat. So we'll make 3 chain, and that will count as your first treble, and then you're going to fill up that ring with 15 more trebles, so 16 in total. And just as a reminder, we will be working using UK terminology all the way through this set of videos for Bedford Park Daisy. So I'll fill up this ring and we'll meet at the end. Okay, I've got to the end there. I'm going to just close with a slip stitch at the top of the first stitch and pull through. I'm going to fasten off. If you want to close that center a little more, you can use your end, your starting end that you the cut end that you started with, and just sew that round and pull it in a little if you want to do that. I'm okay. I think I'm going to leave mine as is, but let me sew in the end and we'll move on to round 1, which is making puffs. Right, okay, here we go on round 1, which is where we're going to be making the puffs. So I'm just going to show you a couple of puffs so that you are happy with those. Just joining in the yarn in the usual way. So joining it with 1 chain, and we make 1 other chain. There's nothing doing there, that's not counting as anything. So basically, to make a puff, you're going to put your yarn around the hook, put your hook into the stitch and pull up a loop. And you're going to do that 5 times. That's all you're going to do. So I've pulled it up to the same sort of height there. So that was 1. Yarn around the hook, go through, pull up a loop. That's 2. Yarn around, go through, pull up a loop. That's 3. Yarn around, go through, pull up a loop. That's 4. Yarn around, go through, pull up a loop. That's 5. So once you've got all of those loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all of them, and that creates a lovely little sort of squidgy puff. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 chain here, skip the next stitch and do the whole lot again in the next one over. So let's just do that one more time together. Yarn around the hook, into the stitch, pull up a loop. That's 1. Yarn over, through, pull up. That's 2. Yarn over, through, pull up. That's 3. Yarn over, through, pull up. That's 4. Yarn over, through, pull up. That is 5. Okay, and through all of them, and that's all you need to do to make a puff, and that's what you're going to do all the way around here. So puff, 2 chain, skip a stitch, and then off you go. So I'll just complete that and we'll see you at the end. Okay, so last one being made now. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Yarn over and through all of them. 2 chain, and I'm just going to join in the top here. Slip stitch to join. So it's a little bit curly, but don't worry, that will all even out. Isn't that pretty? Let's poke that out of the way. Isn't that lovely? So that's the centre point of our large flower. So we're going to move on now with olive for round 2. Okay, round 2 we're working olive because we're working the original colourway, and we're actually going to be working into the skipped stitches on the foundation round, okay, which is cranberry in my case. So you can see there, that's the skipped stitch. We're going to go all the way through the work because we're going to be encasing that chain in the stitch. Let me show you what I mean. So we're going to start just by putting our hook through a skipped stitch from front to back all the way through, pulling up a loop and securing with a chain, and that is not going to count as our first stitch. We're going to go ahead and put 3 double crochet in that same stitch, and that's UK terminology. 1, 2 and 3, and then 1 chain. We're going to do nothing in this puff stitch, and we're going to go into the next skipped stitch and make 3 double crochet in there. Now do not worry if your puff stitches are kind of getting pushed to the back. We'll deal with that at the end, don't worry at all. So 3 double crochet, 1 chain, and that's all we do all the way around. Okay, filling in the gaps that we've left. Okay, and into last skipped stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 1 chain to finish, and move that a little bit. 1 slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet to close. Just pull through, and you can see that we've filled in those gaps nicely. If the puff stitches are sitting to the back, just poke them through so you get all that fullness at the front. Okay, so there we go. That's a very pretty centre, isn't it, of our flower? Okay, round 3 is another nice and easy, straightforward round. It's just double crochet. So I'm going to start by joining my yarn into any of those 1 chain spaces that we made, and pull up a loop to secure it. It doesn't count as my first stitch, so I'm going to put 1 double crochet in there, then 1 into the next 3 stitches, and that is all I'm going to do all the way around, so I won't sort of show you that. Okay, so I'm basically sort of filling in one stitch into the chain and then 1 into each of the double crochets all the way around. So just keep an eye on your stitch count, make sure that's okay, but this is a nice and easy round. Okay, that's the last one, and then I'm slip stitching into the very first stitch to join. So you can see this is a nice sort of closed, kind of tight design at the center of the flower there, and so we're now we've closed round 3. This is French blue, and ready to move on to, once I've sewn the ends in, obviously, ready to move on to round 4. Okay, so on this next round, which is round 4, we're going to be creating the petals of the large flower, and they are topped by some lovely picots, which we have done before, but I will remind you how to do them just in case. Now we're going to join our yarn into any of the stitches that have gone into stitches on the previous round, not into a chain space. Okay, so the first of any of the stitches that have gone into stitches themselves and not into a chain space, and I'm going to choose this one here, and I'm going to pull up a loop and close with 1 chain, and that is just joining my yarn. All right, I'm now going to make a 5 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and I'm going to skip 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and make a slip stitch into the 4th chain from the hook. And what that's doing is basically creating a picot at the top of sort of my first pretend treble, if you like. So the first treble there is made with chains, and I've picoted at the top of them. Okay, so 2 treble into the next stitch, and again, just a reminder, we are working UK terminology. And I'm going to do another picot here. So 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3, slip stitch at the base of that chain to create a picot. Okay, and 1 more treble into the same stitch. Okay, and then 1 treble into the next stitch and finish it off with another picot. 1, 2, 3 chain, slip, okay, slip stitch into the base to make that picot. So let's have a look. We've made our first little frilly petal there. So we're going to skip the next stitch on the round before and repeat that. So skip a stitch and off we go. So treble into the first stitch, 3 chain and slip stitch at the base to make that picot. 2 treble into the next stitch, 1, 2, picot, and 1 treble into the same stitch, treble into the next stitch along, and finish that petal again with a picot. Okay, so that's 2 little fluffy petals made, and that's all you're going to do all the way around. So I'll complete that all the way around. Okay, I'm on the very last petal, the last picot of the last petal, in fact. Okay, I'm going to join in there to close the round. So I just slip stitched into the 3rd chain there to close the round. Let me snip all that through and just show you. So that is the large flower completed once I've sewn the ends in. So if you have a little look at our actual motif here, you'll see we've made that one, and that's all there is to the large flower. We'll move on to the small ones now.